everybody, and welcome back. Today I finally have a bunch of answers for you guys. A few weeks ago I did post a video telling you to ask me anything you wanted to know about DeeVine DeeZine, and I did get several questions come in. So today I am here with some answers for you, and if you would like to see what they are, just stay tuned. What I have done is gone ahead on my phone and pulled up that video, and I'm just going to begin reading these questions right off of the screen. Hopefully we'll be able to go ahead and get to all of them today. If not, we will make this a part 2, but I think there's just a few enough that we can get them all done in one video. So we're just going to start at the top and work our way down. The first question comes from Daisy Dominguez. And she says, I want to know more about the homeschooling, where and how to start. I ran into a Dollar Tree video that you made, and ever since I was hooked on your channel. Love everything you do and show. Please keep doing the blogs. I enjoyed them. God bless. First of all, thank you so much, Daisy, for watching and participating with the vlogs and all of the channel, actually. That support means a lot to me. And I do just want to go ahead and say that I am planning to do a whole separate video just on the homeschooling. That way I can take a lot of time to tell you how we started, how we do it, the requirements here in our state and in our county, because every state is different, every county is different, even within a state, and the requirements can all be a little different. But that is going to be a pretty in-depth video, so I plan to tackle that one in a video all its own. So be watching out for that one. It's coming soon. The next question comes to me from Mrs. BB2013, who asks, when and how did you get into couponing? That is a great question. I actually have a video on here. I believe it's in the couponing playlist. You could look for it if you want to. I think the title of it is Husband of a Couponer Tag, somewhere in there. And we kind of talked about that just a little bit. But basically, in a nutshell, financially, things around here got very tight because of all of the reconstruction we've had to do with the mold issues, and that kind of forced us into a situation where we had to figure out a way to save money, or else I was going to have to go to work. And in order to do that meant that our homeschooling wouldn't be able to happen. So we tried to find some ways to cut back on our expenditures to be able to keep me home, schooling the kids and taking care of my responsibilities here, and couponing was the solution to that. We have now been couponing extensively for probably 18 months, I guess. I haven't been doing it super long. About a year and a half, I guess, that we've been into the couponing, and it has saved us loads of money. Probably about $400 a month is what I'm saving on average with our couponing. So that's why we got started and when we got started, and I don't plan to stop couponing now that I've learned how to save money. I almost feel guilty for all those years that I wasn't couponing and wasted a bunch of money. So thank you so much for that question. The next question comes to us from Funny Chick 8. She says, are you a stay-at-home mom? Do you have a cleaning routine? And who taught you how to do nails? Those are some fun questions. Yes, I am a stay-at-home mom, and I have been from the very beginning. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I had planned to work through the end of that pregnancy, and then just at the time to have her was going to go ahead and quit my job and stay home to raise her. When my boss found out that that was my intention, about 2 months into my pregnancy, he had asked, and of course I was absolutely honest with him and said, yes, my intention will be to stay home and to raise a family. Instead of letting me work out the next 7 months of my pregnancy, he went ahead and terminated me just out of spite, because I guess he was upset that I wasn't going to come back. So I've actually been an at-home mom now since the second, maybe it was the second or third month of my pregnancy with her, and I have never regretted it. I love the decision. I love being able to be part of everything in their life, and I'm very happy that that was the choice that I made. Do I have a cleaning routine? Not really. We clean as we go. The thing around our house is, of course, right now it's in a lot of disarray. Some of you have seen that because of the reconstruction we're doing. But for the most part, when we use it, we clean it and we put it up right away. So there's never really a whole lot of mess to have to clean up. We do have different chores that are assigned to different people around here. My daughter takes care of her bathroom and she gets that all good and scrubbed down and cleaned once a month. My son is responsible for making sure all the garbage is kept up during the week and taken out. If the garbage gets full and is overflowing or whatever, he keeps up with that during the week. And then of course I will clean down the kitchen or mop the floors when it's needed and that kind of stuff. But as far as an actual routine, not really. We just clean it as we go. Some things we keep up with once a week and some things are more often than that. So who taught you how to do nails? Me. I have been painting my nails and loving nail art since I was, oh my goodness, in middle school. Way back I started with the nails, and as I got a little older, I guess probably about 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago now, I discovered YouTube. Like, I knew there were things on YouTube, but I didn't really realize how extensive a community that YouTube really is. And I happened to come across a video for some nail art. The girl's channel is Love for Nails. If you guys aren't subscribed to her, you need to. She is fantastic. My favorite YouTuber as far as nail art is concerned. And so I watched a few of her videos to learn a couple of new techniques and kind of redeveloped my love for that. And that's just kind of how it's been. Everything I've learned, I've either learned watching through other people's videos or just sitting down playing with it and testing it out myself. So great questions. Thank you for those. The next question is also from Funny Chick H. She sent another submission that said, what is the best advice you give a mother with small children who feels like her children are growing up so fast? I love this question. I don't know of any mother who doesn't feel like their kids grow up too fast, because in the blink of an eye, I think every mother has to admit their children are grown and gone. The best advice that I can give you, and what has worked for me, is to spend every possible moment you can enjoying your children. And I'm not talking about just time in the same house. You know, I hate to hear of these families that the kids all have TVs in their own bedrooms, and mom has a TV in her bedroom, and dad is out in the living room doing something, or dad's out in the garage working on a project while the kids are running here and there. And even though you may be in the same house, that's really not time or quality time getting to know and spend with your kids. You know, for us, because we homeschool and we set our own schedules, a lot of times my kids and I are up very late at night, and some of our best conversations happen around 1 o'clock in the morning, where we're just sitting there and we're talking about issues, and I let them share their heart. Never be afraid to let your children be honest with you. Even if they have a thought or an idea that might not be what you would wish that they would think, give them the freedom to express themselves, to be open and honest, because that is going to keep your relationship open with them as long as they're at home, and hopefully will extend far beyond that, even into their adulthood. So my best piece of advice to you is to spend as much time as possible enjoying every single moment, because those moments will be over far too quickly. And when it's all said and done, nothing else is going to have mattered than what time you spent with those kids building memories together. Thank you. That is a great question, because sometimes we get so busy with a lot of other stuff that we just can take our families for granted. And before you know it, the time is gone, and then we spend a lot of years in regret for it. The next question comes to us from Lori Lynn. She says, do you enjoy cooking, and could you possibly do some recipe videos of your favorite dishes? That is actually a great question, because my daughter and I have been discussing the possibility of doing some videos for you guys on some of our favorite recipes, and we're actually kind of debating that right now because there's a couple of recipes that I really would like to share with you guys because they are so good. I hate that people can't enjoy them. And she's like, but Mom, those are family recipes. We don't want to give our family recipes out. So we're still in those discussions and would like to do some of those videos for you. So that is the plan. Even if we don't get around to some of the more secretive family recipes, we do plan to at least do some of the other ones for you. So stay tuned for that. Do I enjoy cooking? It was another part of that question. Sometimes and sometimes not. I'm just going to be honest with you. There are times that I really do enjoy cooking and feel very creative and I love to stand in there and do it. And then there are other times that I got to tell you, it is a drudgery. And if I could hire a cook, someone to come and fix all 3 meals for us every day, I probably would, and just let my cooking be recreational. So sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, and yes, be looking for some of those videos. The next question comes to us again from Funny Chick 8. She says, what is your favorite movie? I really had to think about this one because it was just hard for me to think of what my favorite movie would be right off the top of my head, but I think if I had to choose my favorite movie, I would have to go with Ever After. That is a story based on Cinderella, and it stars Drew Barrymore. I love that movie, and even use parts of that, some of the clips, not necessarily the visual clips, but some of the quotes, I guess would be a better way to say it, in some of the seminars that I teach, because I actually teach a seminar called Conquering the Cinderella Complex and Releasing Your Inner Princess. And in that seminar, I use a few quotes from that movie. I love it in the movie whenever, you know, Cinderella, she's getting all dressed up in this fancy dress. The scene in the movie where she's getting all dressed up and she's just kind of looking down, and she's so used to being beaten down, no esteem. And her friend looks at her and says, you look down to no one. And then she responds and says, but I am just a servant in a pretty dress. And that is just, you'd have to hear the whole conference to be able to hear my teaching on that. But at any rate, that would be my favorite movie. Let's see, our next question comes to us from Nessa Angeles, and she says, alrighty, how long have you been in ministry? What are your favorite kind of movies and music? Laugh out loud. I have been in ministry basically my whole life. I grew up in a preacher's home. My daddy was a preacher, so as far back as I can remember, ministry was our life, because preachers' kids have to chip in and help do a lot of work behind the scenes that some people don't really know about. But as far as my own personal ministry, my husband and I have been in personal ministry since 2002. So that would be about 13 years that we've actually taken off and been doing it on our own. And I love every single minute of it. I love that God has called me and that He has given me the opportunity to speak into people's lives, and I plan to do it until I just can't physically do it anymore. She asks also my favorite kinds of movies and music. I don't listen to music other than Christian music because I think it's real important what we feed on and what we feed our spirit on. So the music choices that I make are definitely Christ-centered. My favorite style of Christ-centered music is definitely hip-hop. And I love, like, Toby Mac. He is probably my all-time favorite. I love his style and all that kind of stuff. So I know I probably don't look like a hip-hop kind of person, but that definitely would be my favorite style. My favorite movies are movies that are made that have a positive impact and meaning to them, something that can teach us something. Obviously, I like to choose the ones that include faith and spirituality in them. But I do watch other movies that wouldn't necessarily be considered a Christian movie, but we choose the ones that make a positive statement and have something meaningful behind them. We don't sit around spending our time watching a bunch of senseless movies that aren't good for us. So great questions, great questions. The next question comes to us from Raina Morales, and she says, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Is YouTube your only job? Two great questions. In 5 years, I will be 50. Can you believe it? I mean, my gosh, that is so hard to even think about. So where do I see myself when I'm 50? I really don't have a clue, except other than to say I want to be right in the center of God's will always. And I hope that in 5 years I am still teaching God's word, still conducting conferences and seminars and traveling to different locations to teach God's word. That's what I see myself doing and hope that God allows me to continue to do in 5 years. And is YouTube my only job? Actually, I only make pennies from YouTube. I don't have a very big channel at all, and it does give me a little income, but not very much. So I don't even consider that really a job. I do it for fun because I really enjoy doing it. I am a youth pastor at our church, and so they do give me a reimbursement salary. That's a small salary every month to just help compensate our travel. You guys know that we do travel 70 miles to church, and it also helps with some of our eats on Sundays because we're gone from home so long. But as far as an actual income outside of the home, no, I don't have another one except for just those two sources. I am fully concentrated on my kids and on developing the ministry that God has given me. Okay, so our last question comes from Magali or Magale. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Espinoza is the last name. And she says, what advice can you give to keep a marriage going for years? That is a really great question, and I have even talked to my husband about the possibility of us doing a video together to answer some marriage type questions. My husband and I did family ministries for about 8 years, and where we concentrated specifically on marriage and helping marriage to grow stronger. And there's a lot of things that we learned from that. The greatest piece of advice that I can give you for marriage is to remember that it is not 50-50 like people try to tell you. It is 100-100. You have to give 100% to your marriage to make it successful, and your spouse needs to be doing the same. There are days when life hits you hard and maybe knocks the wind out of your sail or the wind out of your spouse's sail, where you have to carry the full load to encourage them and to keep things going strong, and vice versa. There are days whenever you're going to be down where they have to carry that load for you, and making sure that you are both investing it all. The most favorite thing that I like to tell people concerning their marriage is that if both people are looking out for the betterment of the other, in other words, if I'm looking out for the betterment of my husband and I'm doing everything that I can to make sure his life is optimal in what it can be, and if he's doing the same for me, and neither of us get into a selfish mindset, then naturally both of our needs are going to be met. One of the most selfish things that people do is to worry about themselves, their needs, and to focus inwardly. And when that happens, your needs will go unfulfilled because your spouse is so miserable being around you because of your selfishness. And when you can let that go and be totally others-centered, then it begins to click, and then the needs are met on both ends. But even with all of that, I have to tell you, marriage can be great and marriage can be strong, but without God as the center of it, my belief is it will never be as strong and as great as what it could be with Him in the center. I strongly believe that every foundation, every marriage needs to be built on Christ, because there are times that no matter how much you love each other, no matter how good things seem to be going, times get rough. And it's in those times that people tend to draw away and pull away from each other, and where affairs happen or divorce happens. And even with Christ in the middle, it's tough and it can be hard to pull through those times, but it's almost impossible to do it without Him. So that is another thing that I highly encourage people to do, is to keep God the middle. I want to thank you guys so much for submitting these questions. It was really fun to read your questions. It was really fun to be able to answer those questions, let you get to know me a little bit more. If you were unaware that video was out there and you didn't get a chance to ask me something, but you would like to, be sure to comment that down below. And in a few weeks, if we have enough questions, we'll definitely do a part 2. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and sitting here with me for a few moments. We will see you in the next video.